this does bode well, doesn't it, for a fantastic season ahead in this class.
Yes.
And the one question is what DeFord need to do to stop the reliability issues that both cars suffered in the early laps. Climbing up the order gradually, but the long way back, the 66 and 67. Still, Max Angelelli carves his way through the traffic, tracked just as closely as ever by Scott Pruitt. Simon Pagenaud is the third man. He's 2.5 seconds back from the battle we're watching here in the number 31 Action Express car. With Ryan Diel a further 4 seconds back. How many times are we going to see scenes like this through the 2016 season as the number 3 Chevrolet Corvette now tries to go into terms with Victor Scheitar? The Corvette man has dealt with one of the new Ferrari 488s. Now looks to do exactly the same with the second car.
Coming off turn 4 down the short chute to turn 7.
And looking for the inside, but couldn't do it there through the bus stop. We'll try to get whatever tow he can get round NASCAR turns 3 and 4 to complete the lap. That will put 319 laps under the wheels of the GTLM leaders. It's 324 laps for the overall leaders. And he does it up the inside.
Wow. It's actually quite an audacious manoeuvre when all comes to
was.
all. 62, Risi Competizione Ferrari with Davide Rigon on board, also bright red, but without quite so many matte black decals on it.
So 2 positions gained there for Antonio Garcia the last 2 laps, up into 5th place now in car number 3, the Corvette. Just a couple of positions behind his teammate Tommy Milner, and only, what, 4 or 5 seconds perhaps between them as well. Boys, they've been real yo-yos, haven't they? Pretty much all the GTLM contenders all throughout this race. It's been really a kind of a cyclical race. We talked about it a little earlier on, John, when we've seen the Porsches in control, we've seen the Corvettes in control, we've seen the Ferraris leading pretty comfortably at one stage, and the BMWs as well having 1-2 for a while. So it really is even Stevens, isn't it, at the moment? Nothing to choose, it would appear, between these 4 different manufacturers.
Let's pop down into the pit lane, and Shea Adam has Ryan Eversley for a quick chat.
Ryan, one of the first notable things is that you're still awake. It seems like everyone gets out of the car and goes immediately to find the closest bed. Why haven't you done that yet? Are you crazy?
No, I really like being on the pit lane and seeing everything that's going on. And I've been on the radio all day with these guys, trying to coach them a little bit and keep our strategy in check and help Mike and Vince, our 2 engineers, like just whatever I can. You know me, I just want to watch and see what's going on, see if I can help. That's why, I guess. But now I'm actually going to go to Marion's and get some pasta, maybe a cup of coffee. No, probably not coffee. That'd be a bad idea. Go get a nap in a second for sure.
That sounds really nice food at Marion's right now. But, you know, there's so much going on. There's been such an attrition rate, especially in the PC category. What is it about these cars that is so challenging to drive?
Honestly, right now, the hardest part of our life is our straight line speed is not good at all, even compared to the other PC cars. And I literally pulled over twice on that last stint to let all the GTLM guys go by, because we're a couple laps down and they're all 1st through 8 or whatever, fighting it out tooth and nail. And I know how frustrating it would be if I was in that battle and some guy was holding us up. So I've never done that before, like just pull over to let people go, but I think they would appreciate it. I know I would. So it's just one of those things where we're just trying to make laps, because this class is notoriously not the most reliable. And right now we've had a hell of a race and we're still 4th. So in PC, you can be 10 laps down and still win by 50. So we're just going to keep on going.
Enjoy that pasta, thanks.
My pleasure. Thanks, guys.
Shea Adam down in the pit lane. So just 0.6 of a second at the head of the field between two drivers, two youngsters, combined age of 104. 10 and 5 are the two leaders at the moment. Then Simon Pagenaud's only another 4 seconds back, you know. Ryan DL another 5 back from that. Razzle Dazzle in the 90 car. Scott Sharp in the 0-1. Another 6 seconds further back. So that's Alex Wirtz in the 0-1. Scott Sharp is in the 2 after that long stop. He blew the red light at the end of the pit lane. GTLM 911, Nick Tandy back on top of the pile ahead of John Edwards in second in the 100. As the leaders go through traffic again, Tommy Milner in third for Corvette. Fred Mako 912 in fourth. And all the way down to Victor Scheitar in the 72 SMP Ferrari, just 13 seconds between those guys. GTD Frickadelli Porsche, Sven Müller ahead of the 63 Scuderia Corsa Ferrari of Jeff Siegel, just a couple of seconds between them. Jörg Bergmeister in the 73 Porsche, just another 6 or 7 tenths behind. Paul Barfield has joined us in the IMSA radio booth. Almost as good a view as you've got in race control. Geez, this is very, very nice facilities here at the brand new Daytona.
Yeah, it's beautiful. They spent some money to make us comfortable, I guess, but no, it's spectacular. It's a good time. I'm just wandering around to try to keep myself awake right now.
I'm not sure you came to the right place.
Yeah, right. It's kind of drowsy over here. No, it's looking good. We just had we had a lighting issue on the track. There were a bunch of people complaining about it because suddenly it got way darker. But I don't know. I guess the technicians from the Speedway got out there and they got it resolved pretty quickly. So it's changing conditions.
I like it. Yeah, it was down at turn 5, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Had a little bit of an issue.
That's right.
Down there. I thought it looked a little bit dark.
Go back to the old days. I think it's a bit of a throwback there.
Yeah.
This place never used to be this light, did it, bro?
You know, I was a little bit disappointed when I saw the complaints because I thought some of the veterans would be really quiet about it and think, yeah, this is a throwback. It's maybe they'd have an advantage with it really darker.
Into the early teens of full course yellows. A couple of nasty-looking incidents, Bo, including the Delta Wing with Andy Merrick hitting a stationary car there. You renowned, you guys in race control, for trying to let these incidents play themselves out as the leaders go through that area at the moment. You happy with how things have turned out so far?
Yeah, that one was pretty disappointing, honestly. We had good information that that the car actually had restarted. We were hoping he could get it in gear and get it going. So we actually got that call a couple times during that lap that we waited. And so to watch several cars, pretty much the entire field, go by once and miss it, and then that car to come back around and hit it was pretty disappointing.
When you say that information, you're talking to the team. You're trying to say, come on, what's he doing? Has he stalled it? Have you got a problem? You're trying to get some kind of good intel so that you can make an informed decision?
Yeah, it was a bit frustrating because we always inquire. Whenever we get a car stopped, we immediately ask the pit officials to find information about what's going on so they can talk directly to the team manager, and we send instant messages ourselves. And that time, in fact, rather than it being direct instant message right back to us, it was sort of shouted at the officials in that pit lane and didn't get directly back to us. So a redundancy in the system is that we also have communication, of course, with the marshals out there, and they were telling us that they thought the driver had gotten it restarted, when in fact, obviously, he did not.
The two Lambos that came together, and there's a car on the far side that looks to be stopped just after the international hairpin, and this driver is out of the car. Now, there's flame at the back of that car. It is the 55, and I was just trying to work out whether there was flame in the... I'm guessing that'll be an oil fire. We've had problems that already. With that car earlier on, already the services are there. Looks like the driver's out the car. Indeed, I can confirm that. Tristan Nunez out of the car. The car has stopped there before and rejoined, but this will be a full course caution. Bo Barfield is with us, and already that has been dealt with. What I couldn't decide there was whether that was somebody's fire pit behind the car in the campsite or whether it was the car itself. But it certainly was the car that was briefly alight. Came round the horseshoe with the rear of the car on fire, says Graham Goodwin. But the fire suppression systems on the car and indeed the rescue services have got there very quickly. And we have our 13th full course caution. The safety car is out. Something that I was noticing earlier on, smart work by the way by everybody out there, and kudos again to all of our volunteer marshals and officials. That Mazda had a little issue earlier on with oil being added to it. Something that I did notice when the two Lambos came together, Bo, into the first corner, that we had a lot of cars, despite the fact that we're under full course caution, the safety car hadn't picked up the leader, we had a lot of cars barrelling down into turn one at unabated speed, despite the fact we had double waved yellows. That's something you keep an eye on very closely?
Yeah, we definitely do, and you know, it's a little bit difficult because obviously for our procedures, it's very important to get a pack up as quickly as possible so that we can get through the pit opening for both categories and get through the pass around in the final wave-by process. So we do encourage a little bit of speed under full course yellow, but obviously we repeat time and time again for drivers to use extreme caution in the incident areas and the waving yellow areas. I have enough faith and trust that the communication had gotten to the drivers that was far enough offline and outside of the track that that they could still get through there with a decent amount of speed to get the process taken care of.
Away from the officiating side, this has been one heck of a race, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has, absolutely. Some of the yellows are a little bit frustrating because I've got my homework to do when we get out of here to figure out how we can get some of these cars restarted a little bit easier. But outside of that, I think the procedures that we have in place that keep all of the class races intact make for a fantastic show and competition.
New season, new start to the new season here at Daytona. We moved down to Sebring in a few weeks' time, and we're moving into a slightly different era of racing here in the WeatherTech, the IMSA WeatherTech Championship race. Have you managed to keep most of your team together over the winter? Anybody new that we need to know about? Anything that's changed? It's important to try and keep continuity, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Nobody new, because I don't want anybody new, because the team I have is fantastic, and it's a lot of the people that were around before I started. I did bring one new team member in along with me, but what that put together in terms of what we have in race control, I wouldn't trade for anything in the world. So we're onward and upward for sure with this new era.
Starting off with one of the biggest races of the year, if not the biggest race of the year, certainly in terms of entry. Multiple class racing always brings its own challenges, but a challenge that you and the rest of race control relish and always looking to improve.
Absolutely. You know, it's great to start the season off with the biggest challenge, just in terms of getting through 24 hours. And this team last year gave me so much confidence with the way they handled everything and took pictures of me when I fell asleep in race control and gave me a hard time about it later. So I've really been on my toes. That's why I'm here right now. And actually, they fed me some tea about 3 hours ago, and I can't even blink right now. So I think they spiked it with something. I'm not sure, but no, I feel pretty good to make it through this time. I think for all of the hounding they've given me, and apparently some of the substance that they fed me as well.
Well, stick around, Bo. We've got the pits open. Let's head down to our Continental Tyres pit lane team, Joe Bradley and Shea Adam. Let's have the first of the reports as the prototypes are in.
The 2 has come to a stop on my end, and John, the headlights that they have been using for the progression of the race has gotten less and less. It started off with both of them in full daylight. When the car just came down the pit lane, Scott Sharp behind the wheel, there was no headlamp at all. Pippo Durrani is getting behind the wheel of the 2, though, as the 5, then the 10, then the 31, and the 01 follow it out onto back out onto the racetrack. The 2 is still on pit lane.
Yeah, the 2 was last in, but because it's the only one of the prototype cars to be have its pit stall beyond the start-finish line, it was shown as the leader that time around. and so it'll presumably rejoin its position. But I think what we did see there was a leapfrog at the front there by the number 5 Action Express team. I believe they got Scott Pruitt out ahead of Wayne Taylor Racing and Max Angelelli.
Thank you, Jeremy. Jeremy Shaw. Bob Barfield is with us as well. Another exciting season in prospect. A lot of new cars as well to get our heads around. Do you guys do your homework as well in race control? When I've been so used to seeing the Z4s down through the years. I'm still sort of getting my head around seeing the bigger car.
Yeah, it takes a little while to get used to all the new car numbers and such. So, so still getting used to that. Seeing the new Lamborghinis around is definitely different too. But we're getting used to it and got a pretty good feel for the flow.
No major changes in our schedule this year, so pretty much going back to everywhere we've been in the past. And let's be honest, that continuity is pretty good as well, as the Mazda is already on the flatbed. The rollback is on its way, and that will be at the shortcut out through the exit at the Western Horseshoe. Steady flames from the tailpipe reported by Mazda's spotter as it was on the infield session. That's never a good thing.
No.
So we're about to see some GT pit action coming up, and I'm going to head back to race control. But I got to say, just for the race fan and me, for following racing for a long time, I think what really kind of keeps me up at night now that I think about it is when I reviewed the race last year, and I watched through the night hours. This guy to my left, Jeremy Stone, I've known him for a long time, does great jobs on top of everything. Your excitement. Shay down in the pit lane impressed the heck out of me last year. So just listening to her when we did those last pit stops, you guys are doing a hell of a job. I love working with you. Keep up the good work. Keep everybody motivated to get into the morning, through the night, and have a good time.
Thank you, Bob Barfield. I'll add to that Rooftop Ray, of course, as well, who's given us the majority of those pictures as well we've been seeing.
Rooftop Ray, I've actually known him for a long time, and I meant to say that too. Before it was getting dark, I saw him carrying all his gear up to go up to the top reporting for duty. So
yeah, didn't even start till 10 o'clock. Bob Barfield, thanks for joining us. He's back on duty now in race control. And again, whilst we've got a little bit of quiet, and before the GT cars head down into the pit lane and share, Adam, a big thank you to all of our volunteers, officials, marshals, clean-up crew, and everyone who gives of their spare time so that we can come and enjoy our motor racing, because it is something very special that all those volunteers do. Stand by for the charge of the Light Brigade. Shea Adam, you are about to get very busy indeed on this Continental Tire Pit Lane Reports.
Uh-oh. Now, a bit further down towards pit out, Magnus is preparing for a brake change. The Viper is expected to come in. Not sure which one yet. I would guess the 93, because it came in less recently than the 33 did. There are more cars further down, and Joe's got some Corvette action.
Yeah, I'm expecting two yellow monsters to turn left, sharp left, and appear right next to their pit box. The number 3 board is held out. The number 4 is the first on scene. The number 3 squeezes in, and it's quite tight for the number 4 car. I'm not sure they're going to be able to get those tyres in. Shit.
It's a horribly intimidating line of yellow headlights coming down the pit lane, heading straight as if towards pit out, but no, they must stop at their pit boxes first. 44 putting the chalk blocks underneath to try and change the front brakes. I'm going to keep an eye on them as they go. It was the 93 Viper, and Joe has more.
Sorry, Shea, I just had to open the mic there so everyone could hear those Chevrolet Corvettes pull away.
Hey, I appreciate it too.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone did. The number 3 and the number 4, absolutely beautiful choreography there from the Corvette pit, as you would expect.
And that was just fuel only, no tyres, or fuel and tyres, Joe?
Oh, that's everything. Fuel and tyres.
But
no drivers.
Okay.
Well, from those yellow
drivers,
beasts,
no driver change, sorry, yes.
From those yellow beasts to the yellow Turners, we had the 97 already come in and out. The 96, which is effectively using the race as more of a test session, because they do have the big green 22 on the side of their car. They know that there is no chance of victory, but they are still running an admirable effort from Turner Motorsport. I couldn't even begin to describe to you the changes that happened on the pit lane, though, John. There were just so many cars coming at once, as now we have the 37 making its way back down the pit lane. Brake disc change on the Audi as well, not just pads. So they're doing some pretty comprehensive work down here on the 44.
Slightly surprised by that, if I'm honest. The GT3 cars normally get through a 24-hour race with a set of pads, maybe a set of discs at if there's an issue. But Graham Goodwin's sitting watching with me. I'm trying to think back to Dubai a few weeks ago. I think they did pads only in Dubai and at the Nürburgring.
Certainly, this is fairly
There's
early
a lot
as well,
of stopping here.
There is a lot of stopping here from very high speed. That's the fair point well made, Jeremy.
Certainly, in the past, all the GT cars and prototypes in the old days would always be changing brake systems during the race.
That's going to be
and
very hot.
Certainly we saw the Corvette team in the wet practice the other night. We saw them bedding in another set of
discs.
Yeah, just in case they wanted that. So I don't think that's particularly unusual. And no, we're just almost halfway through the race now, so not a bad time to do it. And of course, you want to try and get them done if you have to.
Yes.
Do it under caution if you can, and Shea Adam, that has been done, dusted, and the car's gone.
Yeah, John Potter's already back out on track.
That was incredible.
If there's one person to complain about the brakes going soft, it would be the owner of the team. And John is a very accomplished driver. Keep in mind, finished second in the Grand Am Championship only a few short years ago, and won this race before, so he knows what it feels like. Perhaps new to the car, but I agree with Jeremy. You do stop a lot on this track.
Of course, the changing of the brake rotors, as many of you will call it over here, and the brake pads, made far easier nowadays by sort of floating discs and calipers. Remember when we designed the Celine S7R at RML, the discs were designed to come off very quickly with just a flange, no bolts on that, just basically a flange that you could push the discs onto, and they were held in place effectively by the caliper. So it's Jeremy Shaw, Graham Goodwin of dailysportscar.com, and John Hindhoff in the booth, our brand new IMSA radio booth, 107.9 FM, the IMSA app, our syndicated radio partners on website, and of course XM Sirius, and it will be uninterrupted coverage of the 54th Rolex, 24 hours at Daytona, right the way through till 20 minutes before 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, as the pit stops are over and done with. The Mazda is being delivered back to its paddock pit box. That's a sad sight, Graham Goodwin.
It is. It's been a much, much, much better performance from the Mazdas.
It's quick.
It's very quick, and they should be encouraged with the step forward. Unfortunately, it's just not gone their way at this point in the race, Jeremy Shaw.
They'll certainly be disappointed not to have got to the halfway distance point either with either car. The first one was out very early, number 70 car, but the 55 car was running absolutely beautifully and
led the race. It led
the race.
Led the race on pace,
would manage to claw its way back with some good strategic calls there from 3 laps down, back onto the lead lap, and then lost another 2 laps, and it gained one of those back again, and then shortly after that, it all went wrong.
I'm looking at that, and just very quickly, I would say that's put in the 3rd fastest race lap that I can see there. 39.1 from the number 2 car, a 40.2 from the 01 car, and then a 40.4 from the 55. So I haven't looked onto the second page for any point.
Aussie Negri did a 39.
That's right. There you go.
3, and also Andy Merrick did and Catherine Legg actually did a 39.8 in the Delta wing. But still,
that's a top 5 lap time then.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's a competitive car for 2016.
No question.
In the top half of the prototype field is the point, which
Very
it
much
certainly was not on pace last year. Meantime, it's Scott Pruitt has emerged in the lead in the number 5 car.
37th lead change.
There you go, for the number 5 from the 10, and still in the hands of Max Angelelli. The 31 car now, hands of Simon Pagenaud. Alex Wirtz in the 01, Ryan Diel in the 90, Luis Felipe, as is known to most all of us, Pipo Derani back aboard the number 2 car, 6th position. And Tristan Nunez, we know, is going to drop down the order, currently shown in 7th position. That's going to be taken by Nick Tandy, who's leading GTLM.
Joe Bradley can update us on a few late pit stoppers in this yellow flag period. Joe?
Yeah, a very busy Ganassi racing pit. 3 of their 4 cars in the form of the 02 prototype has been in for tyres and fuel, as has both of the 4 GTs, both 66 and 67 have been in onto pit road. Only fuel and tyres. Drivers have remained in all of those 3 cars.
Thank you, Joe. As the safety car lights are out, and at the moment, the one of 4 safety cars that I think we have this week. In fact, no, I know we have this weekend because Jeremy told me, and I believe absolutely everything he says. And it is about it's a wry smile as the
power, Jeremy, the power.
The BMW.
Just think the fun you can have.
BMW turns off onto the infield, and we go green again.
Round the outside, down towards turn 1 goes the number 90 car, but and does it manage to? It does manage to go by the 01, I think. Randiel by Alex Wirtz.
Just on 2 o'clock in the morning here, with the moon high above us, the waning moon. Move this event back just a little bit, and we would have had a full moon, of course, if we'd had it last weekend, which is the more normal, closer to the more normal race date.
No, it was always at the end of the month. It kind of crept forward with the day.
Well, they tried to keep it away from the Super Bowl for a while, didn't they?
Yeah,
because the Super Bowl moved, and it has done this time. So everyone has just about survived through the first few corners and back out onto the speedway.
I think we had a spinner out of turn 1, John. I think it was one of the PC cars.
Yeah, well, talking
it was
of PC,
the number 20 car, which is Johnny Morland, which would be unusual.
Well, that's interesting because he was back, not only back on the lead lap, really right back on terms with number 52 car for the lead of that class.
I think there were 2 or 3 cars involved in that incident because there were 2 or 3 cars came struggling out of the first turn.
Meantime, the GTs are at it again. 25 BMW is Dirk Werner. He's got around him the number 100 BMW, Alessandro Perghidi, and the number 68 Ferrari, Andrea Bertolini's not that far away from that either.
GTLM has been like a family with lots of children. Squabble, squabble, squabble all the way through, hasn't it? It's been nip and tuck from the very start.
Mazda Racing reporting on their Twitter feed that the car looks pretty rough, pretty serious burns on the rear bodywork, extinguisher residue everywhere. It's the 55 car that brought out the 14th caution. As the field settles down to some serious lappery in GTD, it's Jeff Siegel from Matteo Crisoni.
It's a Ferrari 45812 is what it is, and it's the Scuderia Corsa car. Jeff Siegel, you're quite right, John, at the wheel, head of the 51 Spirited Race car with Matteo Crisoni. Going extraordinarily well here.
Antonio Garcia trying to make some ground up on the cars ahead as he goes round the Dodge Viper number 93 with Gar Robinson. 4th place in GT Daytona for that 93 car. Garcia trying to make up half a second or so to get onto the back of the number 100 BMW, which is tantalisingly close ahead.
He's gone tumbling down the order in that restart. Garcia lost out badly there.
Yeah, not be happy.
Nick Tandy leads the GTLM train.
In 7th overall now, Graham.
Away from ahead from Tommy Milner in the 4 Corvette, then Fred Rakowicki in the 912 Porsche, and then the 25 BMW Dirk Werner.
And the 911 is the car that is the last car, or the most recent car, to improve its lap time, and 1:44.8 for that car, set on lap 3:13, well on 3:29 there, now. And only one anybody any closer than that is Dirk Werner, who set the best lap for the number 25 BMW on lap 300. And everybody else is well back down there.
Nick Tandy looking to just give himself a little bit of an edge again, this time over Tommy Milner. He's bottled up behind, I think that is still, isn't it? It is the PC class leader.
PC class leader, indeed.
Nicholas Boulet.
Well, we were...
Yeah, Johnny Mullen with that spin then dropped. He was right with him at the restart, but now dropped about, half a minute behind. But certainly before the caution came out, Johnny Mullen was significantly quicker than Nick Boulet.
And let's go down to Shea Adam. We'll have a Continental Tire pit lane report on some brake changes for Magnus.
Yeah, you guys were speculating about whether or not they needed to do the brake change. Well, they didn't need to do it now, but they wanted to be safer than sorry. You've got a yellow, you've got an opportunity to do it when things are calm, and they didn't want to wait until they had to do it later in the race if such an occasion rose. They would rather get it out of the way. Better safe than sorry. That's Magnus Racing for you.
Yeah, absolutely right.
No, agreed. Absolutely agreed.
Surprised we didn't see anybody else doing it, actually.
I suppose people are thinking there'll be at least one more caution before the end of the race.
Yeah, good point.
5 minutes into this green flag run.
To Scuderia Corsa, Ferrari's nose to tail. It's the GTLM car behind on the road here, but ahead of the order.
That GT Daytona car has got every bit the speed on the banking of its allegedly bigger brother. And into the pit lane, quite slowly, off the banking. It's an open top car.
The 50 car?
No, it's not an open top car.
50.
It is the 50, the 5-0. Well spotted, Jeremy.
Tell you, once again, Pipo Derani is on the move again. He's in the last 2 laps since the restart. He overtook, first of all, Alex Wirtz in the 0-1 car to put him down into 6th place, and now on the last lap, Ryan DeYell as well. So Pipo Derani now in at number 2 car, the Tequila Patron ESM team, into 4th place. It's Scott Pruitt that leads in car number 5 for Action Express Racing by not very much at all, over at Max Angelelli for Wayne Taylor Racing, the Delara Corvette car number 10. Simon Pagenaud hanging right there as well in 3rd place for the Whelan Action Express team, car number 31.
More news from the infield from Marshall Pruitt. The team's PR rep been explaining what the work to the Lamborghini after that coming together with the change car has entailed. They replaced the whole rear suspension setup, Graham. They were about to roll out the garage, and then they noticed it needed a new front toe link as well. They're doing that before it goes back out onto the circuit.
This is the 48 car, yes?
That is the 48 Miller Racing car, Paul Miller Racing Lamborghini. Thank you, Marshall Pruitt of Racer.com, for keeping us up to date with that.
Excellent stuff from both Marshall and from the Paul Miller team. That looked a very badly damaged Lamborghini indeed, didn't it? And it wouldn't have been at all a surprise to hear news that the car was withdrawn, but no, they've set 2.
Well, and all right, the laps and laps and laps down, but as has been pointed out to us by Declan Brennan, the number 33 Viper Exchange car has taken 5 laps back on the leader in class in 3 hours.
They're 28 laps down, which is not as far back as one of the 4 GTs is in GTLM.
Yeah.
And of course, we're leading the race in GTD at the point at which that impact happened.
How good is Scott Pruitt? You were talking a little while ago, weren't you, about people setting the fastest laps of the race, Nick Tandy doing a little while ago. Well, Scott Pruitt didn't do that in the number 5 car for Action Express Racing, but what he did do is turn a lap of 1 minute 40.678. The fastest lap in that car set a long time ago, a 40.626, so 0.05 of a second away from the best lap that the race leading car has turned so far.
Marshall Pruitt, by the way, texted me, and I just remembered this while Bo Barfield was talking a little earlier. The combined age of those 2 drivers, 104.
104. Meantime, at the head of the field in GTLM, Nick Tandy is about to have some company. The company is a very bright yellow, Velocity yellow Corvette, and its driver is Tommy Milner. And Nick Tandy, I think, will relish this kind of company because he does like a bit of a battle.
279, I think, is the combined age of the guys who drive car number 50.
Which will become 280.
No,
That's today.
I think I've updated that now.
Okay,
yeah.
right. Fantastic. After midnight. Very well done, David Hinton. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
So the battle at the head of GTLM, Nick Tandy, Porsche, heavily revised, particularly with that almost Lego-like rear wing that has been fired onto the back of it. And the all-new for 2016 GM Chevy Corvette of Tommy Milner.
Yeah, Tommy Miller hanging right with Nick Tandy now.
He's closed him down, Jeremy. He's done a really good job.
And also significant here is Nick Tandy is still behind that 52 PC car, where he's been since the race restarted.
Yes, that's probably a goodly part of that reason, perhaps, why he hasn't been able to pull away. Good point.
A couple of PC cars, in fact, are
That's
directly
it's
ahead.
number 8 car with the now signature damage to the rear, as restyled by the Delta Wing.
Ah, yes.
Frustrating this will be for Nick Tandy because he'll want to get past that 52 car, but it just pulls away on to get onto the banking, and look at it, just streaks away, what, 10, 12, 15, maybe 20 car lengths now, and they were pretty much nose to tail when they went onto the banking. Another good lap there by Scott Pruitt, by the way, 140.7.
Oh, yeah.
So an hour 140.9 for our race leader as he comes past to complete that 339.
And Max Angelelli did a 40.999 and now a 40.975. The absolute model of consistency.
And behind both of them, another 140.9 from Pipo Derani.
Yeah.
So 2.5 seconds separate 1, 2, 3. Further second for Simon Pagenaud, back in 4th.
Bit of a battle going on at the head of GTD at the moment, the number 51 Ferrari.
On that, beg your pardon. Duran just passed Pagenaud on that lap, good point.
Oh yeah, he did, yeah. And a battle going on at the head of GTD. The number 51, Matteo Cressoni, has Matt Bell in the 6 Audi right up his tailpipes. Now let's see if we can pick those up for you and give you an idea of where they are on the circuit.
Which must mean that Jeff Siegel's just pitted.
Yes, that's correct. And dropped right out of contention, of course, as soon as they do that.
Off the lead lap for the moment.
Yeah, that's all just changed, amazingly enough.
63.
Okay, I'm very confused now. Matteo Cassoni now has the 23 of Alex Riberas behind him and Jörg Bergmeister.
Because the 30 car's also pitted.
Ah, there you go. The Fricatelli car has indeed pitted. Shea Adam.
I didn't see Jeff Siegel's car pit when I'm down that end of pit lane, so maybe he went to the garage?
No, he's, well, according to this, in and out. It's now in his lap 327. He last pitted 325.
So he was using his cloak of invisibility.
4. Very strange.
23 Porsche on the back straight. At the moment, being driven by Alex Riberas. And he's right in behind Matteo Cressoni. That is the battle for GTD. Nicely done, Ray. Thank you.
Yeah, we've got that battle for the leaders developing now because Durrani is closing right in on those 2 DP cars ahead of him. It's Scott Pruitt who still leads.
Flashing lights from Riberas.
Yeah.
That'll make him go quicker, you know. It does. And behind them, is that Jörg Bergmeister coming up on them as well? It is. First, second and third in GTD.
And Matt Bell behind those.
Go underneath us. Matt Bell's not that far away in the Audi. We're going to have 16 wheels of glorious GTD action.
They're the 4.
Wow. Well, all of a sudden, that's just starting to come to the boil as well. Into the International Horseshoe for their 328th time. And a little bit of a mistake was there from the leader. Cressoni just going wide. Riberas pinching the exit of that corner, trying to get a better exit.
Do we get a change of lead there in GTLM?
No, still Nick Tandy.
Still Nick Tandy. Over the line at least, but they're very close.
Okay.
Here comes Matt Bell. And at the lead, he's in fourth at the moment, and the lead of GTD, Alex Riberas, is moving around, gets to the inside. The Ferrari and the Porsche will be side by side on the bankings, and in third place, and that means Jörg Bergmeister will get a huge draft from these two. The Porsche down on the bottom of the racetrack has the advantage. It's got the shorter run, but the Ferrari has got the power, and here comes Bergmeister now picking up the tour. It's almost going to be 3 wide as they come down into braking for the bus stop. Bergmeister backs out of it. Cressoni holds on to his position, and Riberas is still second. 51, 23 and 73, and Matt Bell is hoving into view behind them, Graham.
Older Ferrari has the pace, I'm afraid, on the newer Porsche in straight line speed, at least, certainly in those conditions. And Matteo Cressoni, after, well, an unfortunate finish to his last 24-hour race earlier this month, is having a better day at the moment today. Was leading that race, of course, when the incident happened in Dubai.
Extraordinary decision, or lack of judgment, shall we say. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt.
Well, let's hope lessons learned, and certainly he's driving this one clean as a whistle.
Bergmeister is now licking his chops in third place in
Looking around
GTD.
the outside, perhaps here, over and under here. Not quite close enough.
Porsche's punching out of the slower corners, of course, with their usual added traction, with the engine sitting at the back of the car. Very interesting to hear what Dave Engelman had to say earlier on about future product and the way the Cayman GT4 Club Sported street car are being positioned.
Well, just seems, John, from the point of view of someone who crunches the odd press release now and again, every week that passes, we hear of another car, or 2 cars, or 3 cars joining championships all around the world. We'll see to it Bathurst next weekend.
Yeah.
And here again, head to head, 23 Porsche to the left, 51 Ferrari to the right. Again, pulling ahead. Is it going to be enough this time? It is. He'll take the line for the bus stop, and no, this time under braking.
Fantastic manoeuvre by the number 23, Alex Riberas. Braked, rolled off the brakes, got to the apex, and then stood on the middle pedal again.
And this time, Jörg Bergmeister much, much closer to the 51. He might get the drag as they come down. Yep, Jörg's flashing the lights.
Yeah, that'll make again. That will make at least 5 or 10 horsepower's difference as the lights go off and on.
And he is going to take a look where
through the, it looks like through the
there he goes.
tri-oval, and the
Beautifully
Ferrari
done.
left the door open.
Oh dear me, with a
Conrad.
slow, a 21 car.
Well, a
And
straight
Matt
line
Bell-
speed differential there, huh?
Well, it was odd that when they were side by side, Jeremy, the Ferrari has the best of the Porsche, but when there's a draft, the Porsche did very, very well indeed.
Yeah.
Well, it's all
I
going.
love this track for that. I do. That is one thing I love about this track. It is a different type of challenge.
So Riberas now from Jörg Bergmeister. Matteo Cressoni drops to third.
Having led at this point on the track last time around.
And Alex Riberas, he celebrated his 22nd birthday early this week, just a couple of days ago, 27th. So happy birthday to him. Certainly doing a nice job here for himself and that number 23 team.
And in the meantime, Peter Durrani's into second place and closing down on Scott Pruitt.
Yep.
So we'll pick up that battle as it goes through. That GTD battle for the moment seems to have been resolved. There are headlights coming across the start-finish line.
So nose-to-tail battles in just 3 of the 4 classes then.
Yes, I know. We're not really trying hard enough, are we?
Still, Tommy Milner looking for a way to force an error. So the 50 car is off on the outside of turn 1, the exit of turn 1, facing the wrong way.
And with no engine power or electrical power at the moment, the headlights are off. Now, where is our
some
leader?
electrical power.
Where is our leader? That is the question.
There's
Scott
some coming
Pruitt.
around the banking maybe over there.
Let's get the
Turn
binoculars
4,
coming out of
I
turn
think.
4.
Is it?
Yes. No.
no, there's only
yeah,
one.
yeah, behind them.
Here
Behind
they
this little
come.
gaggle of
It's the
cars.
3. These are the 3-0.
Just picking them up here, and there's the flashing lights. Nicely done by Rooftop Ray, and that is the battle for first and second in the motor race with 11 hours and 40 minutes to go. Through turn 1, Luis Felipe Derani in second place. What a comeback for the ESM car, which had a good first portion of the race, Graham, and then took that big penalty for blowing the pit lane red light, Jeremy. That's, you know,
Stop
full
all
course
caution.
caution. Had to come. And if you weren't with us a wee while ago, Bob Barfield running us through the procedure, talking to the team, talking to the course marshals.
Should mention, by the way, in GTLM, a change, the 62 car up to third position, splitting the Corvette, so 9, 11, 4, 62 and 3, the top 4.
Yeah, Bob Barfield just taking us through the procedure, trying to keep the race green as long as possible. Talking to the team, to the marshals, getting a report from the driver where they can through the team.
Still trying to restart that car, but to no avail, I'm afraid.
It'll start the moment that the vehicle at the
Of course it
motorway
will.
pulls up.
Of course it will.
Joe Bradley is in the highway to help pit. Any news from the team as to what's happened there, Joe?
No, I think, I'm not going to interrupt what's happening here. They're communicating with their driver, and as you can see with the position lights keep flashing on and off, they're just basically switching everything down and resetting everything and going through, you know, looking for cockpit trips that can be reset by the driver within arm's reach of the driver. And right now, that doesn't seem to be rectifying any issue.
It's the 14th full course yellow of the 54th running of the Daytona, the Rolex Daytona 24 hours, Rolex 24 at Daytona, excuse me. Well, hashtag Rolex24 at IMSA Radio. First round of the IMSA WeatherTech Championship in the IMSA Patron Endurance Cup.
Can I offer a kind of slightly controversial talking point?
Controversy.
Well, we're about halfway through the race. We had a 13 car prototype grid.
Yeah.
How many have we got at the top?
6.
Good point.
GT car to win overall. Is that where you go?
Carl Larson's only
well,
what seven laps off the lead now in the 02 car. Let's not forget that.
Let's not forget that. That means only 2 laps off the GTLM lead.
And Nick Tandy's only 5 laps off the overall lead.
Correct.
Right. And you were saying we had no snow battles in 3 of the 4 classes. Well, in PC now, we thought that was all spread out, didn't we? Now look at the scoring charts.
Ah, yes, Johnny
Nick
Mullen.
Boulay, Johnny Mullen actually wasn't making much ground on Nick Boulay latterly, but the guy who was making up all the ground was Stephen Simpson, who's got the number 85 car back on the lead lap. So we've got 3 cars on the lead lap now in the PC class. There's 52, the number 20, and the number 85.
Actually, I think that Johnny Morlam has been split from it. No, he hasn't. No, he's just gone through 40 seconds behind. He's just lost a little bit of time.
Yeah, he was about 45 seconds back after his spin. He really didn't make up much after that, which was surprising.
It's a full season drive, of course, for Johnny Morlam with that car, isn't it?
Believe so. It's and Molam as well. We'll be seeing it Le Mans this year in a GT3 car in the sport race.
Oh, really?
He's doing the Michelin GT3 Cup.
Of course he is, yes, with a Ferrari.
In a 488. The car, the Stricken Highway to Help, 50 Plus Racing Riley BMW under tow. Of course, vehicles back to their muster stations.
Johnny Morlam has promised to join us by telephone for our discussion of GT racing on the sister service Radio Le Mans, which will be in a couple of weeks' time, the Wednesday after our Bathurst coverage, which is next weekend. Many of the journalists, drivers and even some team members are making the trip down to Sydney and up to Mount Panorama. I'm delighted to say that part of the IMSA Radio crew will be part of the Channel 7 broadcast, which you'll also be able to pick up on the internet in sound and vision via the series website and radiolemans.com.
It's a chore, but we've got to do it.
Well, there'll be some names that you will recognise from this IMSA WeatherTech Championship throughout the season. A couple of guys who will have done the 3 major events at the start, endurance events at the start of the season,
Renger
with
van der
Renger van
Zande.
der Zande and Maro Engel,
Yes, indeed.
both having done the Dubai 24, the Rolex 24 and the Bathurst 12.
Sadly, we don't get to see Ollie Gavin, do we, this year at
No.
Bathurst? But we do get to see Shane van Gisbergen. He'll be doing 2 of the 3.
SVG. Shall we have a quick rundown before we open the pits?
Go from the top. The lead of the race, Scott Pruitt's in the number 5 Action Express Corvette DP. 345 laps completed by the number 5 car. And with Pipa Durrani in the number 2 Tequila Patron ESM Ligier Nissan.
And the lead pair are staying out of the pit lane, having only pitted 15 laps ago. So the first car to come in is Max Angelelli. Pagano stays out in the 31.
We'll go third.
Ryan DL has come in and Alex Wirtz have come in. 2 our Continental Tire pit lane reporters. Shea Adam.
Max Angelelli will be staying behind the wheel for yet another stint. They have Contis on the pit wall, but they will not be using them, sending him back out on already warm tires, just putting fuel in the car and changing something up by the ECU a little light, but so good to go for another stint.
And down at my end, I've got Johnny Morland bringing in the number 20. Distinctive purple lights, distinguishing it from its sister car. Johnny's getting out of the car, handing over to someone, can't quite see, and don't recognise the helmet, but fuel, tyres, full service then for the number 20 PC runner. And we'll get a word with Johnny Morland. Hopefully he's not quite as fired up as he was after we spoke to him very early in the race. In fact, he started the race and he was very fired up after that first stint. Back up to Shea while we finish off here.
The 85 has made it into the pit lane, and something that's interesting that they're doing that a lot of other teams aren't, they actually have a water bottle that they have been bringing to the drivers to rehydrate. They do not have a built-in system for their cars. And as you probably just heard behind me, he's already back out on the pit lane. No driver change here.
And the third place PC car gets out. That's the 85 car. The number 20 still on pit road. They're taking their time. It's came in second place. I think it's going to leave in third. And that's the PC runners pretty much done and dusted. We've got the number 50 car. That's the cause of the red flag. Red flag. The yellow, the full course caution. So that number 50, the highway to help car, is back on pit road for it to receive some kind of attention. The team now goes to work on that. It seems to be some kind of an electrical malady.
Thank you, John Shea. And from Marshall Pruitt, Mazda reporting that the engine problem for 55 caught Lux Terminal, unquote. And this from Lee Driggers. Evening, Lee, or morning, Lee. Thank you for this. It is 8 hours and 26 minutes of green, 3 hours and 13 minutes of full course yellow. That was up until a few moments ago. Obviously, the yellow is still counting at the moment. At IMSA Radio, if you'd like to fire something into us at Twitter, as many hundreds of thousands of you have. It's been
Staggering numbers.
I think we may have broken social media this evening, and we had hashtag Rolex24 trending in the UK, where there's not even a terrestrial or satellite TV broadcast, quite remarkably. So at IMSA Radio, use the hashtag Rolex24. In fact, actually, yes, it is just hashtag Rolex24. Also, don't forget IMSA Live, at IMSA Live, giving you up-to-date tweets of the action on the circuit. And we can take down we can go back down to our pit lane reporters. First of all, highway to help, Joe Bradley.
Yeah, the car, as we saw, the car came to a halt and the battery just didn't have enough strength to turn the engine over. What he was able to do was get a bit of a bump start off the tow truck. That's why we've seen him continue. Let's just hope the car doesn't roll to a halt again.
Paul Miller himself springing into action. He grabbed the pit board because the crew was still in the garage. The car rolled out onto the pit lane. It looks like Brian Sellers has been reinstalled into the 48 Lamborghini. But now he's handling the fueling as well. There is a fuel man in a full-fledged fire suit, but it is Paul who is handling the on-off switch. And the flurry of headlights has started to come down the pit lane. 007 coming in. Looks like we might get the 911 and the 912 as the yellow attack comes in, the 4 before the 3. Interestingly enough, usually they try and swap that out on track, but obviously with the safety car situation, wouldn't have that opportunity. They are doing new Michelins on each of the Corvettes, and looks like they did a driver change on the 4. I'll have to look and see who did get in behind the wheel. Missed that one. And up to Joe.
Yeah, we've got 51, we've got 6, and we've got the 28 Lamborghini. That's the Conrad car just coming to a halt at my feet. The 911, number 911 has just gone by, and just trickling in, almost missing his box, is the 21 Conrad, the other Conrad car. Very hard to see your box, I would imagine, with such activity down here. The number 4 Corvette rolls by. That's done. Car 540 is also in. The Porsche is also in for a full service. Don't see many drivers getting out. Certainly not the Conrad car or the 540. Back to shape.
25 had a full service done as well. The 4th stop looked a bit slow to me. I wonder if that was just because of the driver change. I can see Tommy Milner putting away his helmet and gear, which means that Marcel Fessler should have been getting behind the wheel due to their rotations. That's the sound of the Lamborghini going back out to the track, several laps down now, of course, as we still have one car stuck all the way down on the far end of pit lane. Looks like it might be a Ford GT, but I'm going to go look. Oh, no, it's a Ferrari. I'm going to go look closer. Scuderia course.
I've still got about 4 cars with me down at pit out. I've got the 72 car and the 2 Conrad Porsches, Conrad Lamborghinis, I should say. That's car 28 and 21. What we do find is when we pit under a full course caution, that gives the teams a little bit more time, a little bit less hurried is the process, and doing a little bit of servicing. A little bit of servicing also going on the 540. They're taking the advantage of the full course caution to replace front discs and pads. So that's, while that goes on, I'll hand back up to Shea. I think it's all quiet up there though now, is it?
Yeah, the last straggler that was here was a 63. Christina Nielsen now behind the wheel of that car. And I can still see ones down your end, Joe, but my end is completely calm and peaceful. This is nice.
Yeah, we're going to have a soundbite of the number 21 Conrad Lamborghini, and now we're about to, whilst behind me the 540 Porsche continues with that brake job. The 28 Lamborghini, let's have a listen, still on its jacks, about to be let down as the team are still, they're having some kind of, again, just taking the advantage of servicing it under full course caution. Front, yeah, they took the front bodywork off. They've now putting it back on. It seems to be not going on the way that they like it, and now the driver's getting frustrated. He sort of shrugs his hands. He's got no readout on his dash. I don't know if that's significant. Doesn't seem to be. And there is something to the right hand side of the car, some kind of ducting that they've no, this now what that is a brake disc and pads. Now we've got no dash. That is significant. I can see into the cockpit, and all you've got is a Bosch, the Bosch sign. As we go green, I'll leave you down here in the Continental Pit.
Oh, marvellous sound to hear the full field going by, and Scott Pruitt once again has traffic to deal with as we go back to green flag racing. And let's check turn number 1. The pits are now open for anyone to drop out. There's a couple of cars who got off kilter there, did a very late pit stop, and now trying to make their way back round. 5 and 2 Pruitt and Durrani, they're back at it again. Jeremy heading down towards the Western Horseshoe.
Yeah, they certainly are. And meanwhile, there's number 73 Porsche that has just rejoined now, but after a lengthy stop, that lost it at least a lap, I think. And the Rolfin Eichen car number 28 for Conrad Motorsports, so maybe that is back underway again finally, Joe. So those stops pretty costly.
Graham?
GTLM, the 68 Scuderia Corsa cars cycled through to the lead. That's because it didn't stop in that pit cycle. But keep an eye out down pit lane. I have a feeling I spotted one of the two factory Porsches having passed a red light at the end of the pit lane, stopped just beyond that before restarting, just at the end of that pit cycle. There was certainly either a very slow or a stopped factory Porsche just beyond the pit blend line at the end.
Oops.
And there have been a rather too many little faux haven't there?
Meantime, Lucas Luhr now aboard the number 100 BMW, up to third position. But this...
Leaders coming towards us, Graham, and it's as close as it has been. Durrani.
No, Durrani's through.
Excuse me, Durrani's gone through.
This is
now
Simon
the battle
Pagenaud.
for second and third and fourth.
It is the family battle at Action Express for second position. So Pipo Derani has gone through into the lead in the number 2 Tequila Patron ESM Ligier.
Simon Pagenaud now the man most likely. Top three together through the International Horseshoe and heading towards the kink. So Derani did make the move and made a decisive one, as once again we have the Tequila Patron, the ESM car, black and green.
A lot more green on this car than we've seen before. The nose section as a slow prototype. That's the 37, I think.
Derani had to stop.
It's the 37, struggling.
But I tell you what, that was smart moves by Derani, because he could have easily stuck his nose in there and had that car turn into him at turn number 6. They're on the banking now in turns 1 and 2 on the speedway. Equidistant, some 10 or 12 cars lengths between first and second, and about the same between second and third. Derani from Pruitt from Pagenaud. ESM from Action Express 5, from Action Express 31. Max Angelelli another 4 seconds behind in third position for Wayne Taylor Racing. Then it's Ryan DL in the blue Visit Florida sponsored prototype. He's right on the tailpipes of Angelelli. And making up the top 6 prototypes, Lance Stroll is now behind the wheel of the 01. In GTLM, Alessandro Perguidi leads from Nick Tandy in the 911, 68, 911 and 912. Fred Macavecchi in third position from Antonio Garcia, in fourth in the 3 Corvette, and then the number 100 BMW of Lucas Luhr. And the change of position, Graham.
Not a change of position, apologies, I misread that one. Max Angelelli with Ryan DL looking for a way by, but Lance Stroll catching both of these in the 01 car.
This is
4th, 5th, 6th.
Yeah, 10, 90 and 01, just going out of the International Horseshoe.
Meantime, the number 100 car's fallen back in GTLM from third position at the restart down to 5th now. So it's the 68 Scuderia Corsa car. The 488 Ferrari leads the way from the 2 Porsches, 911 from 912, Nick Tandy from Fred Macco. Then it's the number 3 Corvette, then Lucas Luhr.
Battling GTLM is mind-blowing. In back towards the International hairpin. Marcel Fessler is the Corvette with the bright yellow lights, and just to be in front of him, the Porsches of Fred Macavecchi and Nick Tandy. Antonio Garcia in there as well, the teammate to Fessler. Antonio Garcia on the banking now in the number 3 car. The Porsche's back together again and circulating at speed. 47.5 from Tandy, 47.8 from Macavecchi, and 47 flat from Alessandro Perguidi in the 68.
No shortage of speed from that 488. We've had periods of this race in GTLM.
How interesting is that, Graham, as we look at the Porsches on the banking over to our left?
That's the GTD car ahead.
The GTD car is holding up the GTLM cars. And Nick Tandy has tried 3 times to use the draft to get by. He's in the tri-oval now. He'll go to the high side, use the superior braking of the GT LM car, but that was not easy at all to get past the GT car, the GT Daytona car that shuts out Makoviecki. Now, who is that at the moment?
That's 23, that's Alex
23.
Riberas.
It's Riberas, it's the leader of GT Daytona.
Factory driver.
Yeah. That could be an interesting next training session, couldn't it?
He is, of course, leading his class, isn't he, in GTD?
He is.
He's the
in fact, Riberas has just been dropped, hasn't he, as a
junior?
The junior driver. Yeah.
Up the inside of the Corvette there.
It's not going to stick.
It's not. Oh, is it? Oh,
No.
that was.
That is Marcel Fessler and Lucas Luhr battling. Sorry, Lucas Luhr and Antonio Garcia battling together.
We've now got Stephen Simpson up to 2nd place in PC and right behind Nick Boulay. So that battle is heating up, and the number 20 car, has that made a pit stop lately? I guess it has.
No driver shown on that car. That was the lengthy stop that Shea Adam, I think it was describing a little wee while ago for Johnny Molan. No, it was Joe Bradley, wasn't it? Looking to have a catch up with Johnny Molan. That car has been in recently.
SMP Ferrari may have an issue. 72 car.
There is a battle for the lead side by side in PC going down to turn 1. Nick Boulay had the inside line, but Stephen Simpson drives around the outside. Thank you very much, Ray Wenzel, as he gets that move completed in turn 1. So Stephen Simpson, who led the early stages in this race, absolutely brilliant opening stint, back at the wheel of this car, and what does he do? He takes it back into the lead, and it's now the number 85 car for JDC Miller Motorsports that back in the lead of PC. Nick Boulay for PR1 Matheson Motorsports had to be content with 2nd place at the moment.
So we've had just on 8 minutes of green flag in this session as we have gone through the half distance mark of the 2016 Rolex 24 at Daytona. Louis-Philippe Dirani, Pippa Dirani, leads by 1.8 seconds for the number 2 ESM Patron squad. In GTLM, Alessandro Perguidi for the 68 team in 7th position overall, with the 2 Porsches in close attendance behind. In PC, a new leader, Nick Boulay for the 52 PR1 Matheson squad in 17th position, leads Prototype Challenge, and Alex Riberas is in the 23 Porsche and leading GTD. It's live from Daytona, IMSA Radio and TV together for 2016's season opener for the IMSA WeatherTech Championship.